So everything as of right now is running perfectly.
Yes, no one touch anything.
And nothing will go wrong for the next hour.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Nothing at all. Well, thanks for listening. This is our first 2017 episode of Scotch Sporting. And of course, we had a terrible mishap to start the podcast, which
it
you
wouldn't
people
be Scotch Sporting.
Exactly, without some form of horrific tragedy right at the beginning, which you people listening, we've cut out, but for us, was incredibly frustrating.
And if you were trying to watch the live stream, you got to see the splash page for 15
20
minutes or
minutes
so.
Yeah.
Whereas next time, we should just go live and have Chris and I dancing, the steam coming directly out of Tyler's ears and nose.
Yeah.
And Mark's brother in the background.
And Mark's spinny circle of no camera doom for 10 minutes.
Just as handsome. 2017 Scotch Sporting. It wasn't a joke. He's a good-looking guy. Tune into the live stream to find out.
I thought you meant the circle was good looking. That's what I thought you were making.
No, Mark's Skype picture
You're
and
right.
then his actual self are identical, and it's hard to tell.
It is hard to tell
when Mark's actually there and alive. Mark, can you move and interact?
Yeah, I know. I barely do the whole movement thing.
There you go. Okay, you're moving too much. You might wreck something. So
just do the whole podcast.
Yeah.
As a bobblehead. Well, it is the first podcast of 2017. We have our usual full house. And maybe when I introduce ourselves, we can talk a little bit about our holidays. Because it was Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all those other made-up holidays. We have our usual Chris Taylor.
What is up? I have lots of kids, so Christmas was crazy.
Lots of kids, and you work retail.
And I work retail. It's a good combination.
So is Christmas for you like, I don't know, what's the shopping low like March, like mid-March?
No, today was Christmas for me, actually. So today's the first day when the kids are back at school and everything goes back to absolute normal. That was today, and it was glorious.
Nothing's on sale.
Nothing's on sale. Actually, the best day will be next week when we stop doing Christmas returns. Because then it's like, oh, sorry, you bought this in November? Sorry.
But your company buys things back, right?
Yes. Yes. But I'm not a jerk. I'm usually really nice, and if they're nice to me, I'm nice back.
'Cause you're a nice guy. Speaking of nice guys and nice hair, we have the softest hair I've ever seen in the world on Tyler.
Hello.
Did you get conditioner and only conditioner for Christmas?
Yes, conditioner and and I just use it all the time.
Clearly, it's like you got some leave-in thing going on. Like you have a sheen that is making me jealous. The way the light is reflecting off the top of your hair. It's beautiful. You don't need lights on in your room. Look at that. And we have his lovely wife, Katie, enjoying her smug Patriots bye week.
Two bye weeks. They get 2 bye weeks this year.
They get a second bye week next week.
Sweater.
How was the Katie Tyler Christmas?
It was quiet.
Yeah, it was really quiet. My parents went to Florida, so that was one Christmas off the list.
Isn't it the best when families leave and you don't have to deal with them?
You didn't have to make the trek all the way up to the middle of nowhere, freezing cold Ottawa Valley.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that made
that worked out.
Happy camper.
Yeah, we
highly recommend dating a Jewish person if you can do it again, and then you only have to do one Christmas.
Well,
just pro tip for next year.
Keep that in mind for next time.
And we have our lovely Mark Bunn.
Hey.
How was your Mongolian Christmas?
No, here we don't really do anything for Christmas. So usually what I do every year is just go to the movies and watch whatever's out. Like a couple years ago, I went and saw Django Unchained on Christmas.
That's a festive holiday movie.
Yeah, last year I think I saw Force Awakens for the second time, I think it was.
And this year?
This year was Rogue One. So
yeah,
for the second time, I think it was.
I saw that as well, and everyone dies. Spoiler, and I was really sad. I said the spoiler after I said what the spoiler was.
Yeah.
It's been out for like a month. I don't care.
Everybody dies, guys. Spoilers.
I mean,
Not
whole
Vader.
time-
Vader, well, doesn't
That's
die
true.
in the film.
The whole time I was like, maybe these people survive. Because I was like, they were very heroic. And I was like, they would have been talked about in the next Star Wars movie. Like, they would have been part of the rebellion. And I was like, oh, no.
Well, I saw a trailer for episode 4, and none of them are in it, so I think they're dead.
you just saw a trailer
wait,
for episode 4, eh?
You saw a trailer for the sequel to Rogue One? What?
Yes. Yeah, I know, right?
Already out?
They're
Wild.
they've clearly already greenlit the sequel.
Confused.
Rogue
I
literally ends where Star Wars
I'm
starts.
so good with not
No
coming
way.
out of the dark on this.
I had a lovely holiday.
Good.
Dashed off to Aruba, which was very exciting. So I posted some beach, and by beach photos, I mean just a riff of Careless Whisper over and over again, I think is what I posted on our social media.
Yeah.
Because my now fiance,
Ooh, congratulations.
you, Mr. Peanut, showing that he loves me, tipped the saxophone player extra and requested Careless Whisper.
Amazing.
Is it the guy with the hairy chest with the saxophone?
It better
like
be.
used to be?
No, he had a
Oh.
big afro. He was a super skinny nerd, but had a huge poofy afro.
So he looked
Uh,
like Colin Kaepernick?
He did kind of look like Colin, but the nerdy glasses wearing version. And so he played Careless Whisper for me, and I was really excited.
Did he
and
really? Did he really? Because you got to get into that first
He
note.
was into it.
I like
and
it.
we got a crowd gathered around him because he was kind of just playing to a couple people waiting for dinner reservations, and we got more people watching him because nothing brings a crowd like da, 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 da.
Wham!
And
Such
then
a good song. Such a
R.I.P.
good
George
song.
Michael.
That's right.
We lost another one.
Who
Or, as Sarah Michelle
posthumously-
Gellar, tweeted
yeah,
the wrong.
Oh
story.
yeah.
that was sad. But we found out after he died that he was such a good dude, like giving all kinds of money to like every charity you can think of.
Mhm.
Like this guy was a real like good dude.
Just ignore his raging cocaine addiction and focus on the good stuff that he
Hey,
did.
you know what? If behind whatever you want to do, whatever gets you through the day, that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, he took the money he made and he did good with it,
And technically, I guess, supported small businessmen.
and that as well, and probably organized crime.
He supported entrepreneurs. Right? Well, let's launch into sports. So this week is going to be a recap of the 2 weeks that we missed. We've probably forgotten a lot of stuff. So we'll just focus on the highlights that I remembered this morning. And next week is going to be our annual prognostication episode. Featuring Peanut, who, thank God, is now coming up the stairs. Now, fiance Peanut. Soon to be Mr. and Mrs. Peanut. If you hear crackling, we have temporarily lost Katie and Tyler as they fix their microphones. So we are going to dive into what we missed.
Yes.
And tune in next week for our prognostications. We missed a big thing that we'd been following before the Christmas holidays of Edwin signing with not the Blue Jays.
Yeah, I'm sad, but I'm not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I think that who did they sign? What was the guy's? I can't even think of his name. Who did they sign?
Exactly.
Morales.
Thank you. When they signed him, I'm like, okay, this is them saying, yeah, we're moving on.
I
still
heard
think
a quote about Kendrys Morales that he runs like Jose Molina with a bad knee.
oh good.
No, it was Benji Molina with the bad hamstring.
Oh,
Yeah.
because there's a
Dallas
difference
got
between.
Fangraphs. I threw
Yeah.
that up in our Slack, I believe.
That's pretty good.
I was listening to the interview, and the guy's like, "Yeah, you know how fast Benji Molina is? Think of him and with a bad hamstring."
Well,
That's bad.
I mean, that's okay, but I mean, they could still sign Jose, right? So
Not the money he wants.
no, but I don't think he's
Really,
gonna get.
he wants that, like, he's willing to sign a 1-year contract, but more than the qualifying offer. So someone's gonna have to offer up at least $17.3 million.
Do you think someone's gonna do that?
No.
Well, then I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna bite the
Then,
bullet.
The
He
Blue
has to
Jays,
bite the bullet.
their offer is just gonna be,
Hey, do you want to play? Like, we got some money, we can pay you, but
Yeah.
if you want to play, I don't know.
So I like since Edwin signed with Cleveland, which is what we missed, and less than what the Blue Jays initially offered, if what was leaked to the media of what he was offered was accurate.
Right.
So we'll go based on that assumption. So maybe were we reading this wrong? Was this maybe not about the money?
No, I think it was a combination of both teams making mistakes. One, the agent thinking he probably could get more money on the open market if he saw that what the Jays were offering, so he naturally assumed, hey, if I put my guy on the market for 4 years, $80 million, I might be able to get 5 years, $100 million, which I think was going for. And the Jays didn't want to lose Edwin and have nothing to fall back on, so they, I think, kind of jumped the gun on signing Morales because there's still a lot of good bats out there, but like the article said, it was all about them getting draft picks because they knew if Batista and Encarnacion signed somewhere else, they would get draft picks. So that was kind of their, I guess, fallback. If they just get Morales, it's like, that's good. It's a stopgap situation, but we want draft picks because we have nothing in the farm system right now. And then Edwin, when other teams had already signed younger players to short-term contracts, because no one was getting 5 years. Not even I think the most one person got was Dexter Fowler. I think he was the only got a 5-year deal. Everyone else was 4 years.
Where did he
Mid-range
sign?
money.
Cardinals?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, now with Cleveland the only team left, and because Kinzer put a lot of incentives in his contract, so he could potentially make $80 million on a 3-year contract, but to say that he signed to win a championship, the article then also states that it was between Cleveland and Oakland. So if you're really signing for a championship, you're not going to Oakland, but
No.
Oakland offered a 2-year, $50 million deal, and Cleveland offered $360. So obviously, through the 3 or $60
With
million.
the attendance incentive.
Yeah, which is dumb because Cleveland's coming off a year where they made it to the World Series. So obviously, the attendance is going to bump up because look at the Jays. When they started winning, attendance bumped up. It wasn't necessarily Encarnacion. Sure, he's involved with it, but if your team's winning, you're going to the games, regardless of who's on the team.
Agreed.
Yeah. What was it with Edwin? It's like maybe you're right. I was thinking maybe he did just want to win, but if the fact it was between Cleveland and Oakland, it's like
and Cleveland gave him more money.
There's also the
it's a
possibility
nice
that he
spin.
just didn't want to be in Toronto. Like we've joked about this before, that no free agent is like fuck that city that I just left. Like David Price was like, oh yeah, I totally want to stay in Toronto. I love it here, and he's like, fuck this, get the fuck out of here as fast as we possibly can. Like, and you don't say that to the media, so maybe Edwin just didn't want to be here anymore.
No, I think if the Jays hadn't signed Morales and had played the baseball game, they probably could have re-signed Edwin. It's kind of like what happened with Cespedes and the Mets and with Jensen and the Dodgers. They looked at the market, they waited a week, and then they didn't get the money that they were looking for, so they just went back to the team that, they felt comfortable.
But then when I was reading about it, like you read the list of free agents that were available, and it's like the Jays didn't get anybody. Like it's not that they just didn't sign Edwin; they didn't get anyone.
Not that, but the 2 home run chance of last year for the AL, Mark Trumbo and Chris Carter for the National League, they're both still free agents, and they let their respective being home runs.
Is Mark Trumbo still not signed?
He's still not signed. Again, a lot of teams are not wanting to sign these guys in those draft picks, right? And these guys aren't like young, like say mid-20s to late 20s players. These guys are in their 30s. That's why they're not being signed to these long-term deals that they're looking for.
No, and Trumbo's still pretty fluky. Like you don't know if last year was the flash in the pan. Well,
especially when he's in a stacked lineup with the Orioles.
Exactly. I'm sure we'll talk about this in our prognostication episode, which you should tune into next week. So maybe I'll save our Blue Jays next year's thoughts for then. But I don't know. I'm nervous.
Oh, definitely.
We've said it before. This just reminds me of like back in the day when the Jays had someone like the Chris Carpenter, Halladay, Delgado days. Like you have someone who's really good and they get too good, and we can't keep them.
Right.
They get too good, and then they go somewhere else.
Do you ever think the taxes are part of the problem?
I've heard
a little
that.
bit. Not a big part though. I don't think.
Because like our taxing is way more than it is in the States, right? So I wonder how much of that actually does factor in.
I've heard that
I think
could
if
be a
it's
problem.
if it's a huge factor, I think a lot more players will sign in Tampa, Florida, because there are no taxes in Florida. But that's not the case,
No
right?
income
No
tax,
taxes,
yeah.
no gun
Yeah.
laws, no protection for people of color.
Oh no, the guns are to protect the people of color.
Yeah, stand your ground. That was the. Is that the defense? The law?
Yeah, the stand
Yeah.
your ground law. Yeah.
Stand your ground law. Well, let's move on to the other thing that we missed in the last 2 weeks was a shitload of football.
Yeah.
Week 17 was whatever, or 16 or whatever the last week was. Who cares? It was just jockeying for position within position. So the exciting was this weekend, wild card weekend.
Was
Katie's
it exciting?
It wasn't.
No, the games
It was
were all
not a
boring.
close game.
Packers fan, a Houston fan, like because they were
Steelers.
scoring. If you were a Packers fan, it was exciting.
Yeah,
I
The only
guess.
close game was the first
Five.
half of the Packers and Giants game. That was it. That was the only
Yeah.
time a game was close.
And the Hail Mary.
the Hail Mary was
Well,
pretty
once the
good.
Hail Mary hit, the game was over. It was a blowout from then on.
Well, so we'll do game by game with Houston and Oakland. I feel really bad for Oakland.
Right off
here's-
the top, it was bad.
Here's your one chance. Like, you haven't made the playoffs in ages. You have this brilliant stud of a quarterback. You're steamrolling into the playoffs. And then he gets taken out. We missed that. I think we had gone on our hiatus when Derek Carr got taken down. And
Yep.
you saw him on the field say, "This is bad."
Yeah.
You could read his lips saying,
He
This
was
is bad.
mic'd up, right? He was
Yeah.
mic'd up. And they showed it later, and he was just yelling, "It was broke. It's broke. It's broke."
"Oh." And that's all he yelled. It wasn't like just one constant. beep.
Because if
It's
it was me, it would have been bad.
Bro. Yeah, he didn't swear. He didn't scream. He didn't do anything. It's broke.
It's broke, man. So they lost him, and then somehow Houston was not terrible enough that they still made it to the playoffs with Brock Osweiler. And he wasn't bad enough to lose the game on Saturday. I said he wasn't going to do anything good, which he didn't. He
The
just,
third string quarterback for Oakland wasn't great either.
that's true. Like, Brock Osweiler just had to not suck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't fumble the ball. The Houston defense took care of that, much like the Broncos last year in their Super Bowl run. So you have a good defense and your quarterback that doesn't do mistakes, then you're good.
And then the next game had probably the catch of the year, the Seattle Detroit game.
Oh yeah, that was a ridiculous catch.
I had a
Ass catch.
that was amazing. Reached around that. Oh, but there were two. There was the reach around,
Reach around.
the sexy reach around, and then not the butt fumble, but the butt catch.
Yes.
Yeah,
Where, ladies, this is why we work on our Kegel muscles. This is. He did. Do you guys have that? Can you like squeeze things with
With my
your nether
buttocks.
with your butt? Like, this is what. That's
Well,
what
let me
you're
find a
trained
thigh
for.
master and get
I
on that.
haven't really tried to pick things up with my butt. But
Have you never played bum darts?
no,
So
can't say that I have.
you take this is nothing sexual.
Sounds sexual.
Butt darts. Take a red Solo cup and a couple quarters. However, because you don't want to share quarters, and you hold it in your bum, and you're wearing clothes, and you wiggle above the red Solo cup, and you release the quarter
And
into
if
the
you-
cup.
If you get it in, you get a point.
You get a point. That's bum darts.
Can you squat?
You have to stay a certain distance above the cup, but it's releasing your butt cheeks at the exact trajectory to land the quarter into the cup.
I
Bum
think
darts.
I think you just made this up.
I did not. We will be doing this at the. Please don't Google it. You will get porn. We will be doing this at the next Rabble Press meeting and perhaps live streaming this. And this is what gets us to the big time.
Pornhub.com?
Pornhub.com, people clicking on bum darts thinking they're going to see this really rapid fire anal sex video, and it's just us dropping quarters into Solo cups. Bum darts. I didn't make it up. Anyways, speaking of bum darts, Russell Wilson. So Seattle beat Detroit. Everything I heard was like if there was going to be an upset, this was going to be the one game where the underdog won. But then it just turned out exactly the way we thought, and Seattle completely steamrolled Detroit.
See, for me, I thought the one game that was for potential upset would have been the Giants.
Giants and Packers, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one game where I was like, this one could go either way.
You just
Well, I mean,
let's skip to
given-
that one. You don't bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Well, here's the
But-
thing. Eli Manning was 2-0 in Lambeau.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had just as many wins in the playoffs
As Rodgers, yeah. At Lambeau.
and they hadn't lost a playoff game since 2008.
Yeah, because
But then they
the
also
last time-
hadn't been to the playoffs since.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when
What
you make
happened-
the
what
playoffs
happened,
last
Mark? Do you wanna-
time, you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Do you want to discuss what happened in the last time the Giants were in the playoffs? So Green Bay just destroyed the
second
Giants.
half.
It
yeah.
was super close at the beginning, and then Aaron Rodgers threw that Hail Mary, and I think that just
That Aaron Rodgers. He threw an Aaron Rodgers.
threw an Aaron Rodgers. We
Yeah,
should. I do support Katie's. Let's change it. It is no longer a Hail Mary. It's an Aaron Rodgers. So he just Aaron. It dropped right in his hands.
Right in his hands.
How did you even?
How was there not a defender at the boundary?
There was.
No, because he was
Oh.
behind the defenders. There should have been
Yeah.
someone at the boundary. You can't let that happen.
Do you expect it's gonna happen? Like, who thinks that's gonna happen?
Okay, as
You-
soon as
you-
he drops back and
As
sets
soon
a
as he
pass,
drops back,
everyone runs back.
It's an Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
so we got to
Yeah.
defend the boundary.
See him drop back, and everyone just books it for the end.
Exactly.
And then the other game that I can't even remember because I don't particularly.
It was Miami
Dolphins and Steelers,
and
yeah.
the Steelers.
Oh right.
Where
Did-
Dupree absolutely demolished Moore.
The worst run defense against the best running back in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
You're not winning
a
that.
good, Not a good combination.
I am a
See that one
voracious-
drive? All he did was run the ball for 10 straight plays. It was
Yeah,
disgusting.
and did you see how he ran? He would get the ball, stop,
Oh yeah,
and then go.
he
It was very
paused
like Barry Sanders like.
and waited for the Jewish Moses parting of the Red Seas,
But
and he was
that's
just
how-
like, "Thank you," and
That's
just
how he
walked
ran
through.
all season. Because Lindsay's dad's a Steelers fan,
fan.
so I see a lot of Steelers games, and that's how he ran all season. That's his thing. Like he stops, oh there it is, and goes every game.
Just crazy.
It's crazy. So
And every team's like, "Wait, let's see what he does. Let's
Yeah.
give him this chance."
so
What's even
why.
crazier is that this is his first playoff game because every year he's been hurt when the playoffs came.
yeah, that's nuts. But what we didn't talk about, because we kind of talked about the Packers and the Giants, but we didn't talk about the Giants receivers.
Oh yes, this I wanted to
Oh.
get your opinion on this.
Yes,
Because I honestly didn't hear about it until after
Oh.
the fact. They went on a boat with my flippy floppies. P.S. Side thing. We watched the Pop Star, which was essentially an hour and a half Lonely Island sketch.
right.
Very funny.
It is very funny.
Very funny. Yeah. So the Giants receivers were on a boat in Miami on a Monday, and apparently it affected their performance on a Sunday.
What was the stat? They dropped the first 13 passes to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Something like that.
And somebody said at halftime they had only 2 catches out of 15,
Right.
and the receivers that weren't on the boat caught 5 of 6.
Right. So you can say it didn't affect anything. The stats prove otherwise.
Like
a little mental though, right? Like everybody's saying, "Oh, they were on a boat. This is going to mess with their performance."
This
There's
is
that
true.
aspect of it too, right?
Yep.
like Tom Brady being the greatest player of all time and not paying for a different team, we'll never know the answer to that.
Right.
They'll never not have gone on that boat.
Speaking of Tom Brady, though, he joined Instagram this week, so that's been fun.
Just shirtless pictures.
No, he was.
His first picture had some Game of Thrones reference in it. I heard that. I don't know.
Oh,
Ooh, a nerd after our own hearts.
I don't think he's ever watched Game of Thrones.
He did post a picture of himself watching, I believe, the Steelers game.
Oh.
So that is an excellent segue because Bill Belichick did not even bother practicing for anyone other than Houston.
Why would you?
Yeah,
why?
exactly. So they will be playing Houston. Lols.
And it's the Saturday night game
Why
too.
do we even play the game? Don't even
Just
play the game. Just
Don't just call them if I'm
If
Houston.
this goes-
All this talk makes me
Yeah.
so nervous.
if the Texans actually do win this game,
no,
it will.
it's not going to happen.
It's a 16.5 spread right now.
60. I'll take that. I will take Houston.
That's the
with
only
that.
thing I'm trying to figure out
But-
is whether Houston
No,
covers
I take
or
the
not.
Patriots.
Really? I don't know, man. I don't
That's
know.
a lot. 16.5 is a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
It's a lot of pressure.
How happy are you that Eli's out of the playoffs, though? You got to be happy about that.
With a passion that burns very deep inside me, and it's not a good burn.
Like she was cheering hard for the Packers.
Of course.
Hard.
Very hard.
See, the one guy I work with, he's a Patriots fan, and he kind of wanted it to be Giants, Patriots to get the monkey off the back.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think you want to play with fire.
No, you don't.
So,
No.
We had friends at Lambeau yesterday too, so that
oh,
kind of.
God.
Oh,
Although the way Rodgers is playing, you might want to be careful if it's the Packers end up being in the finals too, right?
Yeah.
Because they were 4-6, and he said
I-
if we run the table, we can make the playoffs. And he single-handedly took that team.
No,
Hey,
for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I
but
think,
I take the Cowboys in the playoffs anyway.
I
Yeah,
think
going
it's-
to
I
going
really
to-
think it's the Patriots here. I
That's the
really
next
do.
matchup is Green Bay and Dallas. Are we all taking Dallas? I'm taking Green Bay. I've been waiting all
Oh.
season for Dallas to Dallas. And
This
this
is
is
tough.
this is
This
the
is
perfect
tough.
time for it to happen.
yeah.
Because Green
Yeah.
Bay does have a solid run defense. So then it becomes down to Prescott against a suspect Packers secondary.
And do you think Dak's gonna get rattled?
He might. I mean, if it goes down to being a shootout, I'm taking Green Bay.
My strategy in our pick'em pool, and we'll get to that, with Cleveland in the last 5 or 6 weeks was just picking Cleveland every time
So
because
you
I
could be
wanted
like-
to be the one person who got it right.
Lindsay did the same thing.
So the last little while, I'm picking Dallas to screw up because I want to be the person that was like, told ya.
See,
Here it
there you go.
is. Here it is.
God won't let Jerry Jones have nice things anymore. So you guys are we on the fence? Do we know?
I'm still on the fence.
I haven't decided yet. I haven't decided who I'm picking.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Mark?
I'm leaning towards Green Bay, but I can't say 100% at this point right now. No.
Oof.
Listen to us, eh?
Oof.
Non-committal.
Hey, I'm picking you. I'm Green Bay. Green Bay all the way.
All right. Well, then I will say I'm picking Dallas. There you go. So at least you got
We have
differing
two
opinions.
people.
Yeah.
For a sports podcast that you should listen to for our opinions, we should have opinions. Then we also have Seattle, Atlanta.
Could not care less about
I-
this game.
I
just
don't care.
I really don't like either team.
I'll take Atlanta.
Matt Ryan is the most boring. He's the quarterback you forget is a quarterback.
Yeah, you're like, oh, who had a good season this year? Matt Ryan. Who's Matt Ryan?
Yeah, Matt Ryan. What? That's my accountant, right?
Yeah, it sounds made up.
He's
I
in
dropped
the
my taxes. He isn't in the MVP conversation.
Mhm.
Is Derek Carr out of it since he's hurt? Because I was always of the argument that Tom Brady shouldn't get it because of the 4 games he missed.
See, but
I feel like
he
if you
set
argue
the
that-
record, but he set the record for touchdowns to picks. So
Yeah. I just think if you argue that, you also have to argue that Derek Carr is out of the conversation. 'cause he
right,
got
I
hurt.
don't think either one of them should be out. I think they should both be in.
So we have the game we don't care about. Who's gonna win?
I think Seattle.
Atlanta.
Atlanta's winning that game.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta too.
Yeah, I might go Atlanta.
Damn.
When Seattle's on, they're amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they've lost too many guys in their secondary, and Matt Ryan is they're gonna.
If it's in Seattle, you can make a case for Seattle, but if it's in Atlanta, no, I
Yeah.
can't.
And then lastly, we have Pittsburgh at Kansas City.
tricky because Roethlisberger's got a boot.
Yeah, it's tough. This is a tough one. This one I'm not sure.
It says he's fine though.
If
just-
all
it was
three play,
stylish.
like Brown, Bell, and Roethlisberger, then I give the edge to Pittsburgh because if you decide to stack up against Brown, then you leave it open to the running game. You stack up against the running game, then you leave it up to Brown to make plays downfield. So
Right.
either or, pick your poison.
Pick your poison, yeah. I believe that Ben was in a boot the year that they played Tebow, was he not?
I think so.
And Tebow, I'm like almost positive that he couldn't. His mobility was extremely limited in that game.
Still
Now,
went
was
to
it-
no.
Was it 5 years ago to the day, Chris, that you posted Tebow time?
And unironically posted Tebow time.
I will be posting them both together on our social media, so please check that out. I also screen grabbed a Facebook memory of myself Tebowing on my desk.
Nice.
So I will be posting both of those together, although I think mine was done ironically.
Yes, mine was not. And then
No.
they go and
We were-
get smashed
Tebow.
the next week.
Yeah,
Just
smash.
Smashed.
So you
Guys,
truly
so you have
believed in Tebow?
What's that?
You truly believed in Tebow?
Listen, that was an exciting game. That touchdown in overtime, that was an exciting game. And
It was the very first game that featured the rule because it was the first overtime game with the new rules, and then boom.
Yeah.
and he scored the touchdown and
On the
game
first play.
over, and
First play, 80-yard touchdown.
it was exciting.
Yeah.
And it proved that God was a Broncos fan.
And then Peyton Manning happened.
And then he forgot all about Tebow. Poor Tebow. Why no Tebow? And then, so Pittsburgh, Kansas City,
I that one.
assuming everyone's healthy.
If everybody's healthy, Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Let's say
Yeah.
Ben lost his shoe, and that's the only reason he was wearing the boot. He couldn't find his
Couldn't
other
find
shoe.
his shoe, just put the boot on. Yeah.
And he's
it's-
Ben, and he's like, this Ben shoe, and he just slid it on.
He lost the shoe trying to rape somebody. That's what happened.
Ben no rape girl. That's how Ben love.
I kind of like the Chiefs.
Yeah, we shouldn't discount Andy Reid's record following
yeah.
a bye.
Yep.
What is it? What is his record following a bye?
It's something like 18-3. It's disgusting.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of quarterbacks, he can't remember.
Alex Smith.
I assume it's Matt Ryan again.
Well, they wear the same colors.
They're both
sense.
generic-looking white guys.
Yeah.
Although Alex Smith doesn't throw as well as Matt Ryan.
Yeah, but you wish he was still on San Francisco.
I wish anybody was still in San Francisco. That team's like, there's nothing on that team.
Poor Mark. You're
No
making a
fans either.
political stand, though.
They finally got rid of Balk, which I've been like screaming for the last 3 seasons because when he messed up the Harbaugh situation, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
You remember that? So let's do a little pick'em recap because the season ended while we were on break, and I promised him I'd do a little salute. The winner of the regular season was the captain, my father, who now thinks he can make a living doing this. So I might have turned him into some kind of gambling loan shark lackey person. He won 4 or 5 weeks and had a very excellent percentage.
He had 5 weeks winning, and he and I 4 weeks winning. Sorry, because not doesn't count this past week, but he and I tied for picks correctly, but he takes it because he won more weeks.
Great job,
Pretty
Pops.
Pretty good.
You're currently destroying a Toronto Maple Leafs carpet.
Nice.
Which I'm okay with.
Good girl.
What a good girl. Oh, we'll get to the fact hockey is still happening.
Oh.
Pops went 4 for 4 in the playoff bracket in the
As
wild
did
card
I.
weekend. As did you. I think Mark or Chris did too.
Well,
No,
Another
I
one-
picked the Giants, so I'm 3-1.
I think me and Tyler and
Tyler, I knew
yeah.
another one of us
Yeah.
went 4 for 4 too. Because when I told my dad, he was like, "Was I the only one? Did anyone else?" So he just wants to make sure. He doesn't know how to submit his picks on his own. I do it for him.
Right.
But he's very interested in
How he's doing.
how he's doing and needing to know. I did put money on my dad's bets, and I did win $10. So
There you go.
that's exciting. Our other pick'em recap. I did want to take a minute and talk Bachelor.
Yeah.
Because we do have Katie here. It's not too late, I don't think, to join our Bachelor pool.
It's not.
Search for us. What is our league called? Hold on, I had it pulled up. Sorry, what's it called?
Rose Madness.
Yeah, so you can do it through the ESPN Fantasy app. Search for the open group Rose Madness. I like Nick.
I like Nick too.
So I think I've talked on the podcast before. This technically counts as sports because we're betting on it.
Yep.
And if
And
there's
it's on
any,
the ESPN Fantasy app, so
it is on the ESPN Fantasy app. It is women competing with each other. It is a form of competition, and I love it. We have Nick. I missed him. My first Bachelor was Ben, who was the super boring white guy who had zero personality. Yes, Chris.
So this guy's been on The Bachelor before?
He
Time
Is
on the Bachelor franchise.
fourth time?
He's done 2 Bachelorette seasons. He was on Andy's season originally, and then he came like late to Caitlin's season and professed his love for her. He had sex with both of them on their seasons. And then he was in Bachelor in Paradise just this like past summer.
The point of this show is that these people are getting married at the end, is it not?
yes.
Okay. I just
He
wanted to
came
make
in
sure.
second. He didn't win the other. It's not like
No,
he
no, that's
won
fine.
and just left the chick.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
She got slut shamed
She got
for
slut-shamed?
banging him. She had
Really?
to apologize and be like, "No, I had sex with him too soon."
Apologize to who?
Like the nation.
What?
Yeah.
She
Oh,
was
yeah.
on the cover of People magazine, being like, "I made a mistake."
Man, fuck. This is
He-
this. Yeah. Okay.
He was running up on 2 seasons, like ready to get down on his knee, purchased rings.
Yeah.
Had rings given to him by Neil Lane, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
Ready to get down on knees to these 2 women, and they both were like, "We picked someone else."
Damn.
So
That-
I missed.
okay, that sucks. No, I feel bad for the guy.
I missed him on those, and I heard he was a bit of a jerk, but I'm into this now because he's like a good kind of jerk.
And he wasn't necessarily a jerk. It's just like he was a front runner, and he banged both the chicks.
Yeah.
And then talked about it, which you're not supposed to do.
That's not.
No, it's the talking about it, but it's like you have an opportunity to bang all of these beautiful women or all of these beautiful men. Who is turning that down?
Not Nick.
Not Nick. So Katie is leading. I think you got everything right.
No, I missed 2. I got 7 out of 9.
But she got the
First impression.
first
rose.
impression rose,
First
which was like
time
50
ever,
points or 60 points.
Person of color has gotten the first impression rose.
I was and what like I swear, hand to God, I had her as my first impression rose, and I went, nope, white people, like you idiot for picking someone of color.
Yeah, I just had a good feeling about it when I saw her in the pros.
I have her in my final 4
I have her in my final 4 too.
because we need someone of color. We also have a French Canadian,
Yep,
Whoa.
so I have her in my final 4 too.
she's in my final 4 too.
Well, so the week's predictions were things like a bachelorette will arrive on which animal? The answer was a camel. Someone arrived on a camel.
Yep.
What won't the bachelorettes do with Nick? Listen to his heart, eat a hot dog with him, give him a beard massage, cut his hair. It's great because it's making this a sport and we're gambling on it. And Katie's doing really well.
I've had a lot of practice watching these shows.
I'm still learning. You need to teach me your ways.
See, this
Oh.
makes me wish there was like a Survivor. I'm sure there is a Survivor Fantasy League.
You know what?
I've watched a lot of Survivor, so I would do well at that.
This season is going to probably be the only season there isn't like an up and coming fledgling country artist because the Backstreet Boys are going to be making an appearance.
Wow.
Ooh, no
Yep.
big deal.
Serious business.
There is someone from Nashville, but I think she's a nurse and not a country artist.
Everyone from Nashville is a country artist. They just do something else on the side.
That is
It's part of living in Nashville.
Yeah, you just
Haven't
My
you watched
show's-
the show?
my show's filming in Nashville.
Oh, there you
We
go.
start in March, so that'll be exciting. Reality TV.
But we definitely join our league. You still have till next week before it closes for Final Four pick 'em, and I think there's 10 people in the fantasy, so that's not bad for our first football.
First Rose Madness, first football, first Bachelor.
First Bachelor Rose football ESPN madness.
Madness segue. World Juniors happened also while we were gone, and I know a lot of us were pretty angry about how that ended.
Listen. This is twice
Here we
now.
go.
This
Here
is
we go.
twice now that I've watched a game where the one team that should have won doesn't win and loses on a fucking shootout. Like, TFC should have won their game, losing a shootout. Team Canada, if that game went 5 minutes longer, Team Canada wins that game.
For me,
5 minutes longer.
It was another instance of I watched something that I never watched. I'm not a World Juniors fan.
I'm not really either.
We've ranted about junior hockey before. I said in our show notes I could do a whole other podcast about what's wrong with minor league hockey in this country, and it's the fact they start them at like 16 years old. I don't watch the World Juniors because I don't care. I tuned into the gold medal game, and then when I clicked on again, it was overtime, and I was like, well, I gotta watch now.
Right.
Mhm.
And then again, like TFC, I got super into it because it was such a good game.
It was very exciting.
It was like, this is hockey, and then it was like, wah wah, we're gonna end it by doing something we don't do in real life.
However, I'm a little bit happy for the Team USA. They were down 2 goals twice and won that game. That's saying something. And so for me, I'm not upset that they won. I just hate the shootout. Hate it so much.
I'm not unhappy that Canada lost. That's
Right.
fine.
Yeah. It's like I said, regardless of who won that game, the way it was won is terrible.
Right. Because
Now,
you take this game that's so exciting. I would have watched another 2 hours of that game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like
Now-
baseball. Imagine baseball decided to break their ties after the 9th inning by, okay, we're going to do a home run derby
Home run
now.
derby. Yep.
who wants to see me sock some dingers?
And it's just Berman the whole time. They bring Berman out every game.
That's what he's gonna do now. He's retiring from.
Yeah, he's off the football
That's
thing.
what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
He's just gonna travel to every stadium. Now, when we did our little soccer talk, we made the argument, or I made the argument, that a shootout really isn't part of soccer, but it's even like a regular game, and it's even less a part of a hockey game.
Well, I mean, there are penalty shots in both, and they're the same. It
I feel
is
like
a penalty shot.
I think they happen more often in soccer than
Oh, for sure.
hockey. Like, I can't even think of the last time I saw a penalty shot in hockey. It's very rare.
It's more rare than in soccer for sure.
And so you decide not only a game, but a championship gold medal game on something that really isn't part of the game. And unlike the argument we made for soccer, which was how else, like, there is really no other way to solve a tie in soccer because they're too tired. They keep going on forever and ever. Hockey, there are alternatives. And in the majors, they do have alternatives.
Yeah.
Now, Olympics, they do go to a shootout, right?
Yep.
Because that was
Yeah,
TJ
this
Hughes.
is international
Because
hockey.
international, right?
Yeah.
International hockey, it's shootout. That's the way it's decided.
But the NHL doesn't. They don't do the shootout in the playoffs.
They better never do the shootout
They
in the
keep
playoffs.
going and going. That Pittsburgh game from 6 or 7 years ago that just went on, I think, a whole other hockey game.
There's nothing more exciting than overtime in the playoffs because
Drop-
every bounce, every line change, every face-off, like everything is magnified. Everything matters.
Yeah, drop it to 4-on-4. Drop it to 3-on-3. Make it part of the game.
I'm
Don't
still
do
I'm still not sure. 3-on-3, like, it works because it usually decides the game pretty quickly, but I'm not a huge fan of 3-on-3.
I would rather 3-on-3 than a shootout.
I would
I agree.
also
Yeah.
I would also rather 3-on-3 than a shootout.
So if you have a time limit, if they're going to turn off the lights in the arena the way they do when we're playing softball, and it's like you got to get that final inning in before the lights click off, then drop it to 4-on-4 or 3-on-3. But there isn't a time limit. Keep going. I'm sure all the players would want to keep going.
Yep.
Anyways, that was dumb. But it taught us that hockey was still going on.
Right, which we had all forgotten.
We all forgot that hockey was happening.
Columbus finally lost, and they lost back-to-back.
Damn.
Oh, and I had an opportunity to trade Bobrovsky for
No, I mean the Columbus is.
Vasilevsky and Drew Doughty. Would you have done that?
You're getting Vasilevsky and Doughty for
Yeah.
Bobrovsky in the keeper league.
Yeah.
Oh, I probably would have taken that because Vasilevsky will be the starting goaltender for Tampa, and he's playing a little bit better than Bishop right now.
Maybe there's still
Plus,
time.
get Doughty, who's a stud defenseman.
I don't think I rejected it. Maybe there's still time to take it back.
Yeah, take that deal.
But my other goalies
And
are.
pray they're not listening.
Turn off now, Kyle. I think it
It's
was
too
Kyle
late.
that offered it to me. Damn it, he's heard it. I do think it is too late. How are the Sharks doing?
They're in
Because they
first
did
place.
just make a trade for Couture.
Nice. They're in first place.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's a tight division race, though. Holy
It
crap.
is. Yeah, that division's really tough. So, maybe a trip back to the Stanley Cup final. Who knows?
You know what? In the Western Conference, it's pretty much up for grabs. Besides Arizona and Colorado, every team is kind
In
of
it.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Arizona.
No.
The Bruins continue to.
Yeah, the Leafs have 4 games on them, and they're only, I think, like 2 points behind them.
Are the Leafs gonna make the playoffs?
You know what? Here's what I said. When Babcock signed with the Leafs, I said year 1 would be bad because it's not really his team. Year 2 would be the year that they would probably be 500 because Babcock has a system set in, and he's got his players that he wanted to go in. And I thought by year 3 it was the year that they would compete for a playoff spot. So right now, they're exceeding my expectations.
Right.
They're a year ahead of what I thought there would be.
Are they good enough to make the playoffs?
They can contend, but I don't think they can get far because
No,
they're
I'm not talking about even getting out of the first round. Are they good enough to be
They're going to make
top
the
eight?
playoffs.
Top 8 in the East.
They have one of the best offenses in the league. Their goaltending's pretty much solid. Anderson actually led all goalies with goals and average and save percentage in the month of December. The only question mark is that defense because they do have troubles hanging on to leads.
Right.
And
Well, there you
only
go.
Morgan Riley.
He's actually not having a good year. He's actually, of all the defensemen, he's probably the one that's not meeting expectations.
Yeah, I don't know
Gardner's
if
been
the
looked better.
Leafs are playing well so much as everyone else is kind of playing.
It's the rookies that are
Mediocre.
leading the team, really. 3
Yeah,
of the top 4 scorers are rookies. You have Matthews, Marner, and Nylander.
little Willie Nylander, who has a brother who's even younger.
Mhm.
Not as adorable though.
Doesn't have that hair.
No, he has that luscious hair. No contending with Tyler's sweet, soft hair.
True.
I think that's all I had for this week. I feel the Raptors forever #2. Let's talk about basketball really quickly. Mark, I think you're probably the only one, unless anyone else has been watching some basketball. It seems like Groundhog Day with the Raptors.
Yeah, but you know what? The article point out like the schedule for the last 2 weeks have been horrific for the Raptors because they're flying in, flying out, back-to-back games. It's pretty taxing. So the way their schedule is set right now is tough. But they're stuck in a tier all by themselves because they're not as good as Cleveland, but
No.
they're better than everyone else in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. So the only hope I don't think I talked on this podcast. My friend sat down with me at work and was like, "So what's the deal? Are the Raptors ever going to be able to beat Cleveland?" And I was like, "I don't think so." So the only hope is hoping that someone else beats them
Cleveland, yeah.
before they
Cleveland
meet
gets
up in
hurt.
the East.
Yeah, or LeBron gets hurt and then you sneak in.
Not that
way.
we're advocating violence,
No,
but if LeBron wants to get hurt,
if someone wants to, Nancy Kerrigan.
Nancy
him,
Kerrigan?
Yeah. Just saying. The Raps could use it.
the Raptors definitely could use it.
But then could they beat any of the teams in the West?
Can't beat Golden State.
Right?
Can't beat San Antonio.
Right?
They got crushed by San Antonio.
So what's even
Can't
the
beat
point?
Houston.
So what's even
Yeah.
the point?
the thing they need
make
to
it
do...
past #2 in the East.
Okay.
That's the hope.
The answer might be the trade Valanciunas because the team needs defense in a bad way. And Valanciunas doesn't provide enough defense for that position he plays. He's great for offense, but you have a team that can score already without Valanciunas. So take that piece and turn it into a defensive stopgap, then maybe have a shot. Because you look at the Spurs, they play a defense first type of game, and they're always competitive and win every year. They don't need like a superstar scoring 30, 40 points a game. They work as a team, right? So if they can find that kind of a makeup on the team, then they might have a shot.
But other than that, they're in that weird zone that the Blue Jays were in that I hope they're still in, where they're good enough to make it to the playoffs, they're good enough to make it past the first round, but yay. And we've talked about this in the podcast before. Like, I don't know how I feel as a fan of a team like that perennial
number 2. Always
just
a bridesmaid,
okay.
never a bride.
Yeah, it almost gets to the point where you're just not following the regular season because you expect them to, okay, they're just going to make the playoffs. I'll come and watch them when the playoffs start and then see how they do.
Right.
Well, yeah, like I've always wondered what it must be like to be a Detroit Red Wings fan. That you're
Except
just
this year.
Except this year, which we won't ever talk about. Like, you're
It's
always
like-
in the playoffs.
It's like being a Sharks fan.
You're always great, but you're never great enough. But I was going to say you, and I'm out of my drink. The Sharks are recently playoffs, right? Or have they always been?
No, they've always been
perennially
playoffs.
Always
still?
been.
So
It's-
what's that like?
It's frustrating, and it's why I've kind of become apathetic to them, because
But with the new like playoff format, where again your division is like a tough division to get out of.
Yeah.
Because you have LA and Anaheim, who's also perennial like contenders every year too.
Well, we talked about when the Jays were in the playoffs, the vibe in the city this year was definitely different than it was last year, because it was like, okay. And I know the Raptors, when they had the first 2 seasons, they made it into the first round. That second year, the city was significantly more muted than it was the year before. And it was only last year when they made it past that first round that things got exciting again. So
and now the problem is this year when they make the playoffs, because they made the Eastern Final, if they don't do that, and even if they do that, it's not going to be that excitement, because now you're used to it.
God bless them now. If the Bruins happen to make the playoffs, if something horrible happens to Zdeno Chara, so whoever takes out LeBron for us, I will pitch in a little extra if you can also take out Chara, because I think
or maybe they'll run to the airport and knee each other by accident. Boom, they're both gone.
They're about the same. Their knees would just about line up.
Yeah.
Like when the Bruins they've missed the playoffs the last 2 years. So if they make it this year, that's going to be really exciting, and I'm not going to care what happens.
Right.
But if they were perennially, after the Stanley Cup win, they were in the playoffs the next couple of years. But I knew they weren't going to win, and that was a weird feeling of like, yay. I don't know. We missed a lot. And we probably still missed things that happened in the last 2 weeks. We were down. I hope everyone had a lovely holiday. Next week will be our annual prognostication episode. So please tune in for that. I will post on all of our social media. If anyone has any questions that they want to ask, you want our hilariously wrong. Now, keeping in mind of the 20 questions we asked last year, I think I got 1.5, and one of them was about myself. That was the only one I got right.
And because you made it right.
Because I made it right.
Imagine you got that one wrong, though.
I almost did. If Fitzpatrick hadn't resigned.
You can now go to our website and leave us a voice message asking us the question.
So it has to have a predictive answer, the question that you ask, and hopefully like a really quick soundbite. So like a yes or no, or a who's going to win, maybe who's going to retire. Download our episode from last week or 2 weeks ago if you want samples of the kind of questions we asked. I'll post our questions when we're done, but if anyone has anything, please tweet, Facebook, Instagram, leave us a voicemail on our website. Would be fantastic.
We'll play it on the show too.
We will.
We will play, especially if you're any kind of celebrity. We will play or you can do a celebrity impression.
Or if you're a Browns fan.
If you're a Browns fan, this is a feature to use. I was gonna say, if you are the friend we won't out of Mark Bunn, this is your chance to anonymously leave us a message.
And he was on TV.
We just want to talk to you. And failing that, just please leave us a voicemail there's no judgment. We just want to know why. Because there are people our age that are Green Bay Packers fans, and that makes sense because they were incredible when we were coming of age. There are people who are the Patriots fans because they've just been perennially, annoyingly amazing. Broncos fans are this, like, most fans I can explain. I need someone to sit me down and talk to me about being a Browns fan. So please leave us a voicemail. Go to scotchsporting.com. Leave us a voicemail. Otherwise, our usual plea, tell a friend. Turn to the person next to you at work. Person you're sitting beside. Post, pillow talk. Tell them to download our show. Just tell one person.
Hey,
No?
so I know that sex was real good, but you should check out this podcast.
You know what I was thinking about the entire time instead?
Butt darts.
Bum darts. Maybe, like, while you're with your family playing bum darts, maybe just mention, hey, you know what I
You know where I heard bump darts on? It was on Scotch Sporting podcast. Go give that a listen.
Here's this great game that I heard of that Taylor for sure didn't make up and is definitely a real thing, but don't Google it because you'll get porn. But yeah, thanks for listening. Like us on all of our usual. So we're on the Facebooks, the Scotch Sporting, Instagram Scotch Sporting, Twitter Scotch Sporting. So like everything we do, and we'll see everyone next week with our predictions for 2017. Thanks, friends. I didn't make